The battle between the Necrons and Dark Elder armies, although both were undoubtedly evil, was in many ways a struggle of life versus death. For the Dark Eldar were devotees of life, feasting on its vibrancies and its excesses. The Necrons, for their part, stood only for death and cold, brute power. Unfortunately for the Dark Eldar, the weapons of horror and suffering were entirely lost on the unfeeling, metal-bodied Necron army. Indeed, where the Dark Eldar remained a small and agile force, the Necrons multiplied until they were a sea without number. An advantage would serve them greatly in overwhelming the Dark Eldar stronghold. As they killed each other on the field of battle, did either side remember that once, in a past age, they had also been mortal enemies at war? Perhaps this memory deepened the bitter despair of the Dark Eldar as they fought and died. Perhaps there was a gloating air of vengeance to the Necrons as they crushed them. Many millennia ago, the Necrons and Eldar had waged epic war across the lands of Kaurava III, and in that distant age, the Eldar had prevailed. Now it was as if that same battle replayed itself, but vanquisher and vanquished were reversed. All the deadly might of the Eldar art of war proved useless against the Necron onslaught. All the premonitions and provisions of Farseer Keres failed to match her adversary, the Necron Lord. The other combatants in the Kaurava system had distracted the Eldar. The Necrons grew strong, while the Eldar's strength was whittled away. The Necron Lord, or the dark gods he served, surely took some malevolent satisfaction in the victory over the Eldar stronghold. The Necron army did not stop at the slaughter of all life forms, but trampled every last vestige of the Eldar presence, uncovering many of their ancient supply caches in the process. Under the war banner of war boss Gorgut's Headhunter, the orcs of Kaurava had proved themselves tough, capable warriors. Their numbers, brute strength, and tenacity could not be overestimated. Neither Gorguts nor his army, however, were prepared for the deathless legions of the Necrons. Undaunted by the fearsome reputation of the orcs, the Necron shadow swept in on the Rocklaw Mountains. They coursed through the mountain paths and poured into the ancient stronghold sacred to the Kalraven orcs, which had never before known intruders. Although the orcs fought bravely, and many who died that day should have been sung heroes, all fell, crushed beneath the flood. This decisive battle spelled the end of the Kalraven orcs. The Necron methodically hunted every last orc down. Strangely, several reports suggest that an orc rocket blasted off from the Rocklaw Mountains, just at the moment of the Necron victory. Still, even if Gorguts were aboard this rocket and made it to safety, the Kalraven cause was lost for the orcs. The brutality with which the masses of Necrons crushed the Nanyanoi moonbase was one of the bloodiest episodes of the Kaurava conflict. It had been suggested that had the Tau completed their advanced defenses on the base, the Necrons would have been easily deflected. However, others contend that few walls have ever withstood the full force of a Necron onslaught. The sack of the moon base was a bitter lesson for the leaders of the Tau military. They saw the death of a revered ethereal and a noted commander as a terrible failure to embody the philosophy of the patient hunter. It was haste and hubris, they reasoned, that had caused the ruin of their ambitions. The Necrons, meanwhile, with cold efficiency, had gathered the dying and captive Tau, Kroot, and Vespids. They were given to the flayed ones to practice their ghoulish art upon, in preparation for the next battle.